20,000 Leagues Under the Seas, a tour of the underwater world. Oh boy, there's a French title. 20,000 lieues sous les mers, tour du monde sous-marin. 20,000 Leagues Under the Seas, a tour of the underwater world, is a classic science fiction adventure novel by French writer Jules Verne, published in 1870. The novel was originally serialized from March 1869 through June 1870 in Pierre-Jules Hetzel's periodical The Magazine d'Éducation et de Récréation. The deluxe illustrated edition, published by Hetzel in November 1871, included 111 illustrations, wow, by Alphonse de Neuville and Edouard Riot. The book was highly acclaimed when it was released and still is. It is regarded as one of the premier adventure novels and one of Verne's greatest works, along with Around the World in 80 Days, and Journey to the Center of the Earth. Might do that one another time. Something to look forward to. The description of Nemo's ship, the Nautilus, was considered ahead of its time, as it accurately describes features on submarines, which at the time were very primitive vessels. A model of the French submarine Plongeur was displayed at the 1867 Exposition Universelle, where it was studied by Jules Verne, who used it as inspiration for the novel. The title refers to the distance traveled while under the sea, and not the depth, as 20,000 leagues is nearly twice the circumference of the Earth. The greatest depth mentioned in the book is 4 leagues, and the book uses metric leagues, which are 4 kilometers each. Okay, cool. Well, that answers my first question, because I thought it was actually going to be 20,000 leagues depth, so I'm glad to have been corrected. And I'm skipping past all the plot synopsis here, because I don't want to be spoiled on anything at all. Let's see. Reception. Theodore L. Thomas in 1961 said that there is not a single bit of valid speculation in the novel, and that none of its predictions has come true. It's funny. Thomas said, however, that despite poor science, plot, and characterization, put them all together with the magic of Verne's storytelling ability, and something flames up. A story emerges that sweeps incredulity before it. Nice. That's good. What? There's a sequel! I had no idea! Apparently The Mysterious Island, 1874, is a sequel to this story. That's so cool! I'm not going to spoil myself on any of that stuff. But if we really like it, maybe we'll just go ahead and add Mysterious Island to our list for the poll for sometime else in 2019. That'd be really good. Okay. Well, I think that's about it for reading about the book ahead of time. Alright, so let's actually do the reading. Oh yeah, I really do hope that there will be less racism underwater. That was... The racism and the sexism was unfortunate, I guess unavoidable part of Around the World in 80 Days. Otherwise, it was fantastic. Really loved it. Alright. Oh, and all of that description just now was from the Wikipedia article, by the way. Without further ado, 20,000 Leagues Under the Seas, an underwater tour of the world by Jules Verne, as read to you by me, Mars. I will be reading this from the Project Gutenberg website. Sorry, I just ran into a technical issue. Okay, there we go. Reading this from the Project Gutenberg website. This is translated from the original French by F.P. Walter. A complete unabridged translation. There's an author's note here, or a translator's note. The French title of this novel is 20,000 lieues sous les mers. This is accurately translated as 20,000 Leagues Under the Seas, rather than the sea, as with many English editions. Verne's novel features a tour of the major oceans, and the term leagues in its title is used as a measure not of depth, but distance. Alright, what do we got here? First part, second part. Okay, so it looks like the novel is split into two halves, with chapters breaking up each half. 24 chapters in the first part and 23 in the second. So I suppose you can look forward to 47 highlights, or 48, counting the intro stuff. As there is an intro. So, I need this. Oh yes, I also have a tiny bowl of oranges. Mandarin oranges. It's very good. "20,000 Leagues Under the Sea." Seas, plural. An underwater tour of the world by Jules Verne, as read to you by me. Mars. Introduction. The deepest parts of the ocean are totally unknown to us, admits Professor Aronnax early in this novel. What goes on in those distant depths? What creatures inhabit, or could inhabit, those regions 12 or 15 miles beneath the surface of the water? It's almost beyond conjecture. Jules Verne, 1828 to 1905, published the French equivalents of these words in 1869, and little has changed since. 126 later, a Time cover story on deep-sea exploration made such the same admission. We know more about Mars than we know about the oceans. This reality begins to explain the dark power and otherworldly fascination of 20,000 Leagues Under the Seas. Born in the French river town of Nantes, Verne had a lifelong passion for the sea. First as a Paris stockbroker, later as a celebrated author and yachtsman, he went on frequent voyages to Britain, America, the Mediterranean. But the specific stimulus for this novel was an 1865 fan letter from a fellow writer, Madame George Sand. She praised Verne's two early novels, 5 Weeks in a Balloon, 1863, and Journey to the Center of the Earth, 1864, then added, "Soon I hope you'll take us into the ocean depths, your characters traveling in diving equipment perfected by your science and your imagination." Thus inspired, Verne created one of literature's great rebels, a freedom fighter, who plunged beneath the waves to wage a unique form of guerrilla warfare. Initially, Verne's narrative was influenced by the 1863 uprising of Poland against Tsarist Russia. The Poles were quashed with a violence that appalled not only Verne, but all Europe. As originally conceived, Verne's Captain Nemo was a Polish nobleman whose entire family had been slaughtered by Russian troops. Nemo builds a fantastic, futuristic submarine, the Nautilus, then conducts an underwater campaign of vengeance against his imperialist oppressor. But in the 1860s, France had to treat the Tsar as an ally, and Verne's publisher Pierre Hetzel pronounced the book unprintable. Verne reworked its political content, devising new nationalities for Nemo and his great enemy, information revealed only in a later novel, The Mysterious Island, 1875. In the present work, Nemo's background remains a dark secret. In all, the novel had a difficult gestation. Verne and Hetzel were in constant conflict, and the book went through multiple drafts. Struggles reflected in its several working titles over the period 1865 to 69. Early on, it was variously called Voyage Under the Waters, 25,000 Leagues Under the Waters, 20,000 Leagues Under the Waters, and 1,000 Leagues Under the Ocean. Verne is often dubbed, in Isaac Asimov's phrase, the world's first science fiction writer. And it's true, many of his 60-odd books do anticipate future events and technologies. From the Earth to the Moon, 1865, and Hector Servadac, 1877, deal in space travel, while Journey to the Center of the Earth features travel to the Earth's core. But with Verne, the operative word is travel, and some of his best-known titles don't really qualify as sci-fi. Around the World in 80 Days, 1872, and Michael Strogoff, 1876, are closer to travel logs, adventure yarns in faraway places. These observations partly apply here. The subtitle of the present book is An Underwater Tour of the World. So, in good travelogue style, the Nautilus's exploits supply an episodic storyline. Shark attacks, giant squid, cannibals, hurricanes, whale hunts, and other rip-roaring adventures erupt almost at random. Whoa! Cool. Yet, this loose structure gives the novel an air of documentary realism. What's more, Verne adds backbone to the action by developing 3 recurring motifs: the deepening mystery of Nemo's past life and future intentions, the mounting tension between Nemo and hot-tempered harpooner Ned Land, and Ned's ongoing schemes to escape from the Nautilus. These unifying threads tighten the narrative and accelerate its momentum. Other subtleties occur inside each episode, the textures sparkling with wit, information, and insight. Verne regards the sea from many angles. In the domain of marine biology, he gives us thumbnail sketches of fish, seashells, corals, sometimes in great catalogues that swirl past like musical cascades. In the realm of geology, he studies volcanoes literally inside and out. In the world of commerce, he celebrates the high-energy entrepreneurs who lay the Atlantic cable or dig the Suez Canal. I have a cousin who is at the Suez Canal right now on a tour of military duty. And Verne's marine engineering proves especially authoritative. His specifications for an open-sea submarine and a self-contained diving suit were decades before their time, yet modern technology bears them out triumphantly. True, today's scientists know a few things he didn't. The South Pole isn't at the water's edge but far inland. Sharks don't flip over before attacking. Giant squid sport 10 tentacles, not 8. Sperm whales don't prey on their whalebone cousins. This notwithstanding, Verne furnishes the most evocative portrayal of the ocean depths before the arrival of Jacques Cousteau and Technicolor film. Lastly, the book has stature as a novel of character. Even the supporting cast is shrewdly drawn. Professor Aronnax, the career scientist caught in an ethical conflict. Conseil, the compulsive classifier who supplies humorous taglines for Verne's fast facts. The harpooner Ned Land, a creature of constant appetites, man as heroic animal. But much of the novel's brooding power comes from Captain Nemo. Inventor, musician, Renaissance genius, he's a trailblazing creation, the prototype not only for countless renegade scientists in popular fiction, but even for such varied figures as Sherlock Holmes or Wolf Larsen. However, Verne gives his hero's brilliance and benevolence a dark underside. The man's obsessive hate for his old enemy. This compulsion leads Nemo into ugly contradictions. He's a fighter for freedom, yet all who board his ship are imprisoned there for good. He works to save lives, both human and animal, yet he himself creates a holocaust. He detests imperialism, yet he lays personal claim to the South Pole. And in this last action, he falls into the classic sin of pride. He's swiftly punished. The Nautilus nearly perishes in the Antarctic, and Nemo sinks into a growing depression. Like Shakespeare's King Lear, he courts death and madness in a great storm, then commits mass murder, collapses in catatonic paralysis, and suicidally runs his ship into the ocean's most dangerous whirlpool. Hate swallows him whole. For many, then, this book has been a source of fascination. Surely one of the most influential novels ever written, an inspiration for such scientists and discoverers as engineer Simon Lake, oceanographer William Beebe, polar traveler Sir Ernest Shackleton. Likewise, Dr. Robert D. Ballard, finder of the sunken Titanic, confesses that this was his favorite book as a teenager, and Cousteau himself, most renowned of marine explorers, called it his shipboard Bible. The present translation is a faithful yet communicative rendering of the original French text, published in Paris by J. Hetzel et Cie. The hardcover first edition, issued in the autumn of 1871, collated with the softcover editions of the first and second parts, issued separately in the autumn of 1869 and the summer of 1870. Although prior English versions have often been heavily abridged, this new translation is complete to the smallest substantive detail. Because, as that time cover story suggests, we still haven't caught up with Verne. Even in our era of satellite dishes and video games, the seas keep their secrets. We've seen progress in sonar, torpedoes, and other belligerent machinery, but sailors and scientists, to say nothing of tourists, have yet to voyage in a submarine with the luxury and efficiency of the Nautilus. F. P. Walter, University of Houston. Ah, this is handy. There is now a units of measure reference listed here. I'm just going to quickly copy and paste this. I think I'll make a command for this so that people can put this into chat if they ever get confused. Yeah, let me just set this up real quick for you guys. Seems like a useful resource for this book specifically. I'm going to make this command units. Group will be permission, everyone. Cooldown 1 minute. Okay, let's give that a shot. I'm going to put in units. It's going to be a lot. This might be too much, actually. Holy cow. Well, I guess if you ever want to completely destroy the chat, you can put that command in.